Hey guys, it's Mischief Magus again. I just got done talking about the impediments of the moon. There are 10 of them. Some of them are complicated and I don't like them, but they're very helpful, especially when you're considering making magical talismans. I wanted, like I said in the last video, I wanted to do like this, and now, how to make a talisman! But we're not going to do that because I'm just going to give you the information. Now I need to warn you, this is a very beginner-ish book, and it's actually complicated. So I'm not going to be surprised if you guys have some questions. What I want to do first, I want to just make a list of the ones that he writes down. I'm not going to read all of them, and then after this, maybe if someone wants one of them, I can read it to you. There is the first one. In this chapter, he kind of starts like talking about elections, and if back in the day, if you weren't a king, go fuck yourself. You wouldn't know your natal chart. Nobody gave a shit. Now everybody knows their charts, and it's a mess because now we have modern. It's terrible. It just complicates things, and it's already complicated enough. So back in the day, if you weren't a king, nobody cared about your birthday. Because they probably didn't know, because they were too busy working outside. Anyway, what I got out of that is, back in the day, if you were a king, people would know your birthday and your chart and all this other stuff. But now everybody does. Which kind of made it a little bit more complicated for people in the days of yore to understand how to make talismans. And to be quite honest, I don't think that they were too concerned about making talismans because they were probably too worried about their cows getting diseases, or their wife dying in childbirth, or getting beheaded because they didn't give the king enough taxes or seed for the season, whatever, or their house is leaking, or they got raided and they got butt fucked or something stupid. Significantly more important practical things in the day and life of a peasant. Compared to a king where you just ate and got fat and you just, you there, astrologer. The astrologer hobbles in. Yes, what can I do for you, sir? And then you just basically ask him. And if he gets something wrong, you just kill him. It was very, very dangerous back in the day. But now we have some pretty good knowledge. I'm going to start with just one of them. I'm just going to read them all because whatever. This one says, the second sign or the second house with its elections. And first about receiving and allocating money. Ooh. Not going to lie, one of my preferred ways to work. Here's one under that genre. An election for sharing money or some kind of work with someone. So I guess sharing some kind of work with someone. Ooh, cool. I like this one. I'll probably read about it. An election for investing money in order to profit from it. An election for buying or selling things. An election for alchemical operations. I'm not going to tell you guys that I am a genius and I know how to do these magical things of alchemical operations. But that's what it says. I don't know what alchemical operation. Mix sodas. The third sign, or the third house and its elections. So we went from the second, now we're doing the third. The fourth sign, or the fourth house, and whatever kind of elections are in it. And first for building a house. That sounds cool. Here's one. An election for tearing down a house. This one's small. I'll do this one. Some of them are like half a page, and I'm not going to do that until you request one. This one is for, like I said, an election for tearing down a house. And when you want to tear down a house, let this be when the moon is descending in its circle, and when it is separated from the malefics and joined to the benefics. And let the benefic singular itself be oriental or ascending directly, or let the moon be joined to the ruler of its own domicile by a friendly aspect, in other words, trine or sextile, so that its destruction is lighter, but in square aspect or in opposition, its destruction will be heavier. Yeah, let's put this on a trine aspect. It just gently demolishes itself. And then opposition, it just explodes. It's not how it works, but that's how I imagine it. We'll move on to the next one. Oh, this one's good and it's kind of long, so I'm not going to read it. An election for buying land or leasing it, so that you may receive a return from it. Ooh. Here's one. Oh, this one's fun. An election for diverting a river or for digging a well. Back in the day, very important. Probably still important nowadays. An election for planting trees. An election for sowing seed. And those are all the fourth house ones. Remember, fourth house rules land, father's estate, houses, stuff like that. Here we go, the fifth sign. Oh, this one's a little long. It's about begetting a male or female child. Very interesting. And, oh, I'm not going to read that one. Oh, here we go. This one's kind of cool, I guess. A little bit more dangerous nowadays because of all the safe space stuff, but here's an election if you want to enroll a son in a course of instruction or send him to a place in which he may be taught some trade. That's all the fifth house ones. Ooh. The sixth house ones are really good because they are all about sickness. We begin first about expelling devils and ghosts from any place. This one's, I don't know. I'm not really like, ooh, but I guess some people might actually have problems with this. I'll read it. This is kind of weird. When there is a devil in any place or in any house, or a disturbance caused by evil dwellers, or when some terrible thing has taken place that causes fear, or when some ghost is appearing, and you want to remove it from that place, or from any man by means of a song, or by means of any kind of investigation or scheme, beware lest the moon or the ascendant may be in any of these signs, that is, in Leo or Cancer or Scorpio or Aquarius. But let the moon be in other signs beside these, separated from malefics and joined to the benefics. I say these slow because, I mean, I don't have any problems with this, but maybe you do. I know that there are some people on the occult sub. It's like, help, I summoned Satan. It's like, no, you didn't. Stop. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't. Stop. No, you didn't. Stop. Some people have had these problems, like, Paranormal Activity or whatever. I know that's a movie, but whatever. I'm sure it's happening right now somewhere. Thankfully not with me, or for you. Here we go. This one's more practical. An election for taking medicine or applying a plaster or any other kind of medication to any part of the body. And then it talks about when remedies for the belly should be administered. Then there's remedies for the head, the body, cures for diseases, the eyes. This one's weird. An election for shaving the head with medicine. This one's kind of strange. Also, don't forget, sixth house is for slaves. So here's an election, it says, for buying slaves. Don't go out and buy slaves, please. Most people appreciate their freedom, especially here in America, where we have basically the last fabric of freedom left. Oh, speaking of freedom, an election for giving freedom. Come to America. It's not good anymore. Here we go. This one's really important. The seventh sign with its elections, and first for marriage. And of course, because marrying someone is very important, and you want to make sure you're doing it right, this one is obviously 1.5 pages long. I'll tell you what. It's very important, especially in today's world. You want to make sure you're going to do it once or nothing. Also, don't forget the seventh house is for open enemies and war. And of course, this goes for, and it says, an election for going to war. And of course, that one is also 1.5 pages long. There's a lot for travel. This 9th house stuff. Here's 10th house stuff. An election for elevation to a kingdom. An election for putting the king on the seat of the empire. An election for putting someone in charge of a restoration. An election for strengthening a rulership. An election for being inimical to a king. I think inimical means like hated. An election for seeking something from someone. Ooh. Here we go. This is 12th house stuff. This is first for buying animals. An election for going out on the hunt. That was probably very important back in the day when you couldn't go to your local Giant or Food Mart and get butchered turkey and whatnot. You actually had to do it manually and presumably risk your life if you wanted to get pork because you had to kill boars. That could easily take 5 or 6 arrows to the head before you actually brought it down. Very dangerous animals. Ooh, an election for taking flight or for whatever you wish to do secretly. I'm going to read you one of the ones that I want. So before you ignore this video and you decide, he's not telling me anything, I will tell you the one that I am most interested in. As I had said before, an election for investing money in order to profit from it. Record this on your phone. It may be useful. And if you want to invest money, seeking some gain from it, fortify the moon and Mercury, and the ruler of the house of Mercury, and also the ruler of the degree. It says in footnotes, this presumably means the degree of the cusp of the house, when the houses are divided unequally. So I use alcobaeus. If you use whole signs, cool. You wouldn't have to worry about that. I'm just going to reread the whole thing for you. And if you want to invest money seeking some gain from it, fortify the moon and Mercury, and the ruler of the house of money, and also the ruler of the degree of the house of trust, and let the moon be joined to Mercury, and make Mars to fall away from both of them as much as you are able. And also fortify Mercury and keep it away from unfavorable positions. Also remember, I'm done with that, so that's what it is. When they say fall away, it usually means, and it says in footnotes, that is to be out of orbs of conjunction or aspect. So basically make it so that Mars is not aspecting either the moon or Mercury. And then you would try and make the Lord of the 2nd house and the Lord of the 11th house strong. Or at least not attacked by Mars or Saturn or have some other affliction. It goes on to say some other stuff. But if Mercury is retrograde, fortify the moon and the degree of the house of trust, and the ruler of the house of trust, and their rulers, and make Mercury to fall away from the light of Mars, but you should not make it to fall away from an aspect to Venus, or from the ruler of the 11th. And in connection with money and seeking gain, always let your trust be based upon Mercury and the moon, and the degree of the house of trust, and their rulers, and make Mars and its light to fall away from them. That one, in all honesty, is probably one of the easier ones, and it's still hilariously complicated. When you try and do elections, there are so many different factors to consider. And when you really think about the fact that these people, Sahl, Masha'Allah, Dorotheus, Bonatti, William Lilly, all these people, they did this stuff without computers where we can sit on our fat asses and just basically click a button and say, yeah, we're good. They had to, I don't even want to know how much time they had to spend, not only studying, but analyzing the heavens, even looking up to the sky and being like, is that Saturn? Or is that Mars? And they just had to look. And they had their ephemerises and they got them out and they looked at it. So that was helpful too, but they still had to draft up the wheel and everything. So really this stuff is not easy, even by today's means and terms. It's far, I can't even imagine how much more difficult it was. But now we have these things. These guys wrote this stuff and it's useful. You can actually do building a house, really useful. Electing when to marry. Not who to marry, but when, because if you marry someone at an inauspicious time, sometimes it causes problems. I'm serious. Timing is everything. Another reason why Saturn rules magic with Mercury, because it's time-based. Very interesting and scary. Yeah, I want to elect to build a trench or a well. Okay, there's an election for that. But to be honest, those are like a lot of the basics. I'm not going to say like when to start a YouTube channel Or when to ask for a promotion. Those are reasonable questions. They're obviously not in this book from a guy that lived 1,500 years ago. But I think that you can cover them in other ways. How to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, money, other stuff like that. Also, if you need a good connection, look in 11th house stuff. As I had said, there's one for how to ask something of someone, or how to join someone with a particular piece of work or something. I think that's in the 2nd house column though. But anyway, if you want me to read them, I will, but I highly doubt this video is probably going to be about 10 minutes long. Most people, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people probably don't have the attention spans to go through this. I know I try to, but I sometimes don't. So really, what I'm going to do from now on, if anyone has any questions or concerns or comments, put them down below and subscribe if you want. I'm going to have multiples of these. The book is fantastic. Just ask me to read them and I will. I'm literally just going to do it like VoiceOver Pete does. Like, just tell me what you want me to say and I'll say it. At least ask me which election you want me to say, because truthfully, some of them are kind of long, and I want you to record them and listen to them multiple times if you have an idea of what you want. Don't use this stuff for shit, guys. I'm watching you. I will know when you do it for bad. Also, it's kind of against the rules to do it, so it's going to bite you in the ass eventually. Use it for good. Help people. Don't be a shithead, all right? Yeah. See you guys later.